green screen stuff. Interesting. Hello, hello. Hope everybody's doing good. What a day of football yesterday. Did you guys watch the games yesterday? I certainly did. I always like to do some of those fun prop bets. I have a lot of fun with those. What did I do? What was the most? I did Puka to do a touchdown plus 150 yards. That was pretty dope. What up, Ryan? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, I did $40, paid $250. I thought that was fun. But anyways, we're not here to talk about NFL, unless you guys want to. We can certainly talk about that, but how many days a week do I exercise? I try to do something every day, but I do resistance training a couple times a week. Solid resistance training like 3 times a week of the heavier stuff. But then I do mobility almost every day. I'm trying to do some mobility every day. Hey there, looking forward to our upcoming appointment. That's fantastic. I'm looking forward to helping you guys too as well. Guys, if this is your first time here, yeah, basically mobility every day to finish off my last thought. Mobility means flexibility, joint motion and movement, because I play a lot of volleyball. So being able to play volleyball for the next 20, 40 years is very, very important to me. And as you age, once you have enough muscle mass on your body, once your body fat percentage is healthy, mobility is probably the next category for health investment that you should be allocating time and resources to. Doesn't matter if you're big and strong, if you have no mobility and your joints break down as you age, that's a problem. All right, guys, if this is your first time here in the channel, my name is Dr. Jones. Hello. I have clinics that service across the nation, all 50 states. Specifically right now, we just launched our functional medicine program because we were getting so many requests. We have a lot of unique cases in the GLP-1 space, a lot of autoimmune patients, but specifically just helping you guys utilize GLP-1 medications correctly. Like that's the big thing, you know? So what do I mean by correct? Like what does that actually mean? Using it correctly means strategic implementation of lifestyle. Getting to the root cause of the roadblocks. What are the biggest roadblocks for GLP-1 medications that I see? The nutritional piece. Most patients that we deal with are significantly under eating. Not just protein. Everybody thinks protein. Yes, protein is huge. You gotta eat protein. You gotta eat enough protein. But calories. I think the biggest under discussed issue is just getting enough overall nutrition, getting enough calories. Too many of you guys, some of you guys are getting enough protein, but you're not getting enough calories. If you don't get enough calories, you will plateau. You will have metabolic down regulation and slow down. Your weight loss will slow down and stop. And then you have medication adaptation. That's the other big issue, where your body's responsiveness to the medication decreases over time. And so there's Look, we do metabolic resets, medication resets under medical supervision, and then we pair it up with proper lifestyle intervention. So that's what I want to talk about here today, guys. If you feel like you're struggling, let me know in the comments. Why don't we start with a little introduction? Let me know your name, where are you watching from? What does your current journey and plan look like right now? And if you guys are interested in working with me, my coaches, my medical team, the best way to reach out to us, and then I'm going to go ahead and finish this little part, and then I'll start looking at your guys' questions and answering as many questions as I can. But if you guys want to reach out to me, if you're watching me on TikTok, you can either send us a direct message. Let me help you guys out on TikTok. If you're watching me on TikTok, you can send a direct message. I'll give you guys that little, there we go, right there. A little box right there on the bottom left. You can send us a direct message, or you can click the link on our bio. If you're watching me on YouTube, there's a link inside of this live, and there's a link there where you can submit your information, schedule a free consultation with my staff, and then discuss with them, you know, big picture, what it is that you guys want to do, how can we help, yada, yada, yada. That's how it all works. Okay, cool. I'm going to open this up here. Let's see. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's fire away some questions. What is my opinion on Samorelin? And then switching from Samorelin to CJC IPA. CJC IPA is going to give you a greater growth hormone releasing pulse. It's stronger. CJC is a growth hormone releasing hormone. Ipamorelin is a growth hormone releasing peptide. Think of the growth hormone releasing hormone, the CJC, as the amplifier, and then ipamorelin kind of blocks the brakes. So you have something stopping you from hitting the brakes, and you have something hitting the accelerator. So the combination of both together are going to optimize growth hormone release. Hello from SoCal. Scripto, I'm on. My legs are always cold. Do I need supplements? I don't know. You know, if your body's cold, that's usually an indication of thyroid function, of metabolic slowdown. But if it's not just your whole body and it's your legs, it sounds like a potential circulatory issue. So I'd definitely reach out to your doctors about that. Thank you, Veronica. That means the world to me. I'm glad that this information is helpful to you. And guys, please do us a solid. Let all your friends and family members know that you found me and you found my resources. By the way, if you're watching me on TikTok and you're not already following my YouTube, go to YouTube right now and type in Dr. Jones DC, because we put out 4 videos every single week where I do comprehensive deep dives, and I give you everything. I do my best to give you guys as much information as I possibly can. It's there, utilize it, and then if you need more help, you know where to reach out. My legs get cold at the top half. Yeah, that's weird, and that definitely sounds like a more of a circulatory issue. I would go visit your doctor and help them rule out, you know, what's going on there. Hey, John, it's good to see you, my friend. What is the best microdoses to use? There is no standard microdose. Guys, we need to talk microdosing because I think there's so much confusion out there. You don't microdose at the start of your weight loss journey. Microdosing is 2 things. It is an anti-inflammatory approach towards optimizing and improving health. You use a microdose to reduce inflammation, to improve the background of your body so that it can heal. Now, I also look at microdosing as something in the future, when you bust your ass and you put in the work, And notice how I say bust your ass. If you're not busting your ass, if you're not prioritizing the changes that you want to make, you're going to struggle. I'm not saying you got to make this your life, because that's not sustainable, but you got to bust your ass. This needs to be somewhere. This needs to be somewhere near the higher echelon of things that you consider important to yourself, because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to start an exercise program. It's uncomfortable to make different choices in your food. It's uncomfortable and challenging to say, nah, I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to drink that soda. I'm not going to eat a plate full of processed garbage and fries all the time. I'm going to make these changes, right? It's uncomfortable. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable, if you know what I mean. But anyways, so this is part of the process that is going to set you up for long-term success. And if you do this, you make these choices, these changes in your lifestyle over the course of 3 to 6 to 9 months, depending on how much weight you need to lose, there's a future where you might be able to start to decrease your dose and maintain your weight on a microdose. That's very possible when you put in the work. I play aggressive sports and I had a muscle injury, was told to combine TB and BPC 157, looking for reliable providers and guidance. Yes, so big fan, TB 500 and BPC 157. They're very synergistic. You can combine those two peptides and they provide a very comprehensive and robust healing response. The BPC 157 is a tissue healer. TB 500 enhances it. It opens up the floodgate. It helps the cells migrate better and delivers the healing nutrition, the components, all the healing growth factors that your body has floating around in the bloodstream. And then if you want to optimize healing, you can also add GHK copper, which is another anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, tissue healing component and peptide as well. So that would be the ultimate stack. You need to go online and do a free peptide calculator. I might have missed what you're talking about. Hey, Pearl Drop, did you actually speak to one of my staff? How long can a reconstituted bottle of Retta stay in the fridge before going bad? I don't know where you're getting your Retta TrueTide from, so I can't talk about stability and sterility of research peptides, which is probably what you're doing. But in general, if you're getting high quality 503A peptides, anywhere between 1 to 3 to 4 months, when peptides are well controlled, stable, cool temperature, avoiding exposure to light, peptides can last. But some of them don't. Some of them are short-lived. Some peptides degrade so quickly that they're single-use peptides, like MOTC, for example. MP Palmer, can you give us 30 minutes of your time? We are worth it rather than you exercising and setting up. You know, I appreciate the thought. I'm walking 2 miles per hour, and you know, one thing that I advocate for, first of all, let me rephrase that. I think it's important to lead by example. It really is. And for you guys, you have multiple, like me, responsibilities in your life, and you're trying to figure out effective ways to multitask and to do multiple things. And so this particular thing that I'm doing right now, walking 2 miles per hour, is something that I'm a big fan of for you guys in your day-to-day life. If you have a certain job that allows you to have a stand-up desk like this, where you can do a little walking treadmill, walking two miles per hour, anywhere between 1 to 2 miles per hour, would make a massive improvement in your health. And so I do prefer to lead by example and show you guys how easy it is, because walking at 2 miles per hour for me doesn't impact my ability to help you guys. Certainly, if I was walking faster than 2.0 miles per hour, you would hear my labored breathing. I've tested the waters. 2.0 seems to be a good threshold where I can still give you all that I can. I didn't sleep last night. I'm doing 18-hour shift today. Is it safe to drink a Red Bull? I mean, Red Bull is never, energy drinks are never great things to drink in general. But you got to live your life. You got to do what you got to do, you know? You got to perform at your job. If you didn't get good sleep, an energy drink is there for that reason. Coffee, energy drink. The situation itself is what it is and you are where you're at. But long term, can you work on systems to decrease the likelihood that you're going to have another night's bad sleep? Like, what can you do to overall improve consistent sleep quality so you don't find yourself in that situation? Yes, user 1809, you can shoot us a text message. You can click the link in our bio. You can shoot us a DM to the TikTok page. Energy drinks are poison. I mean, let's be careful with the words. Poison is a bit extreme, but I hear you. I hear you. I would recommend and always will recommend to avoid energy drinks as much as you possibly can. How can you improve your situation so you don't find yourself needing a jolt of energy, right? What are my thoughts on 5 days on, 2 days off, CJC, IPA? So this is like the protocol that we do with our patients for growth hormone peptides. 5 days on, 2 days off, and then you cycle on every 3 to 6 months, maybe take a month off. That's kind of our generalized approach. TB 500 and BPC 157 for healing tissue, you can just run that every day, 7 days a week, and then take a break like every 3 to 4 months. And I forgot to mention earlier, somebody asked about healing peptides. I mentioned GHK copper. Also, growth hormone peptides would be another angle that you could take for upregulating your body's healing. I was on Zepbound and I want to switch over to Ozempic. Why do you want to switch over? What I have found in most cases, tirzepatide, aka Zepbound Mounjaro, is significantly better than semaglutide, aka Ozempic Wegovy. Tommy, I wouldn't recommend anybody take follistatin. That is a very dangerous research peptide. I wouldn't touch it, and I wouldn't recommend anybody touch it. I talk about that a lot, and several times I've mentioned that in videos. What are so bad about energy drinks other than sugar? The stress demand that you're putting on your adrenals. Energy drinks are full of stimulants that are demanding to your adrenal system and asking your adrenals and body to compensate and give you a jolt of energy. Again, is a single energy drink the end of the world? No, of course not. We're talking cumulative effect. I mean, I've seen patients drinking energy drinks every day. And I think it's that cumulative, repetitive nature that becomes a problem. Because you can eliminate the calories and go sugar-free, right? If you are going to do an energy drink, please go sugar-free. We don't need those freaking calories. Hey, Alicia or Alice, how come you're taking IGF rather than taking CJC IPA, for example, or Samorelin or Tesamorelin? I don't really like taking IGF directly because you don't get all the other amazing benefits that you get from growth hormone. When you can optimize growth hormone, you get IGF, but you also get everything else. The recovery, the sleep optimization, the improvements, there's just a lot of things. The fat mobilization, the protein synthesis, you're gonna get that from IGF, but you're gonna get all the other benefits from growth hormone. And I wouldn't take both. That would be ridiculous and unnecessary because the growth hormone peptide, the CJC-IPA, already does what the IGF does. Yes, Angela, you know what I'm talking about. You switched over to tirzepatide and you noticed a big improvement. That's fantastic. How long does it take to heal from broken fingers? Well, depends what kind of break we're talking about, my friend. I hope you're okay. Would you run GHK Copper 7 days a week as well? Yes, Ruben, I would. My son's taking peptide shots. Are they safe? Probably not for your son. Probably not for your son. There's really no place for kids to be experimenting with peptides. They really shouldn't. There are probably use cases where kids could benefit from tailored, doctor-supervised peptide use, but adolescents, and I see it on TikTok right now, it's crazy. I see it, all these kids taking peptides, shooting themselves up, and they don't know what the hell they're taking, why they're taking it. They're getting it from unsafe and unreputable places. It's the wild, wild west out there, guys. Does retatrutide help improve kidney function? All GLP-1 medications generally have a positive impact on kidney function. In fact, this is like well documented. Tirzepatide, well documented in the trials how positive of an improvement to kidney function was demonstrated. And retatrutide is the most potent at burning liver fat, which is, I have a video on Wednesday, by the way, where we talk about liver fat. Happy Gilmore, my friend. Been on 10 milligrams for a while. I don't want to go up, but 10 isn't cutting it. Happy, are you talking about Mounjaro or Zepbound or tirzepatide? Yeah, you're kind of, what most people have reported that I've seen is that when they go above 10, it doesn't even help much. If it does help much, if it does help, it's short-lived, and then your body kind of down-regulates. Because if you do the math, 10 to 15 is only a 50% increase. You know, but 2 to 10, right? You're doubling, and then you're doubling again. That's a 200% increase. Much, much bigger. So, yeah, if you were working with us, we would probably do a much-needed medication reset. Much, much needed medication reset. See, we believe in cycling the GLP-1s to reduce tolerance, to reduce adaptation, to force you to fend on your own and build some resilience. I can't stress how important it is. Hey, Ruben. Yes, some of you guys are asking a little bit about how to reach out to us, how to contact us. If you're watching me on TikTok, I'm going to give you guys a little portal here. You guys can reach out to me right there. You guys see that little box there on TikTok? You can shoot me a direct message, or you can go to the link on the bio page. And by the way, if you're watching me on TikTok, go to YouTube right now and type in Dr. Jones DC. Dr. Jones DC, follow the page, subscribe, turn on the little bell thing, because we put out like high quality videos every single week where I break down exactly everything that you need to know to be successful, completely for free, by the way. And then if you guys want more help, if you want the peptides, if you want some direct coaching, you can reach out to us directly. You can shoot us a text message, or if you're watching me on YouTube, there's a link in the description of this live event. Or you can text the number right there. Happy Camper, I'm slowly losing on Zepbound, maintaining muscle, losing real fat. That's freaking awesome. Still experiencing reflux. I'm wrapping my brain around taking a break. I lose quicker on more restrictive diets. Look, I can understand what a mental game it is to think about taking a break from the thing that's been helping you so much. But understand that taking a break is part of the process of being successful long term. At some point, you need to take a break. At some point, you need to jump in the lake and see how cold is it really. Like, is it freezing cold? Do I need to jump out of the lake because I feel like I'm gonna freaking freeze to death? Or did I jump in the pool and realize, oh, it's not that bad? AKA, take a break from the medication and realize, wow, I don't need the medication as much as I thought. Now, granted, if you're not completely healed, you're not going to get off the medication and all of a sudden, you're fine to not use it. I think people are going to need to use this medication for the rest of their life. But what I'm thinking from what I see is if we improve your metabolic health, if we strengthen the mindset and we develop some mental discipline, specifically over your appetite, over your food chatter, if we can develop some skill sets, some comfort, right? Remember when I said earlier today, we need to become uncomfortable being, we need to become comfortable, more comfortable being uncomfortable, right? I want that to sink in. You need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that is going to be part of the process of what sets you up for success in the future. I believe that to my core. And I live this. I live this myself. I've lost 100 pounds. I was obese. I hit my peak at a 16-year-old. And when I lost 100 pounds, I struggled for a decade to figure out how to maintain that weight loss. Constantly yo-yoing back and forth, regaining and losing the same 50 pounds every single year. It was a nightmare process. It was repetitive. It was draining. It was exhausting. And now I have stability. I have stability in my life when it comes to my weight, and that's all I want to. That's all I want to offer you guys is the same sort of stability. Knowledge is power, my friend. I agree. Dina, I had a gastric bypass 2 years out, would love to lose 30 pounds. Is GLP-1 good for me? In a general sense, I think GLP-1s are great for anybody who's struggling with weight. So yeah, Dina, I think GLP-1s would be phenomenal for you. What are the best fasting windows? So we have what I created is the flow protocol, FLOA, fasting like our ancestors. So I'm a big fan of clinical therapeutic fasting windows to get into some deep healing, to heal insulin resistance, to reduce inflammation, and to create that necessary calorie deficit that burns off the fat. Like, we need a massive calorie deficit, and if we can get the calorie deficit while also simultaneously lowering insulin levels, now we're helping the body to burn fat because of insulin's ability to block and reduce, or I should say make it more challenging for your body to burn fat. Hey, Seb Chain. Yeah, what I'm actually doing right now is going back and forth between reading comments. I'm live on TikTok and I'm live on YouTube. So obviously there's a lot of comments coming in, so I won't be able to hit every comment, but I do my best to hit as many comments as I can. I'm sitting here with a friend who hates on peptides. He says it can worsen my body. I'm 22 years old, taking retatrutide and GHK copper. I mean, you're very young. I don't really think you need GHK copper, most likely. And retatrutide, if you're overweight, sure. If you need help with the food chatter, you feel like it's a struggle. But have you tried to lose weight without the retatrutide? 270, 5'9", 27 years old, thinking about Ozempic. What peptide is this? Yeah, so Ozempic is semaglutide. These are your GLP-1 peptides, and they're very powerful at essentially removing the barrier to weight loss, removing the barrier to fat loss. It's an aid, it's a tool. If you can do it on your own without the medications, you shouldn't use the medications. But if you're struggling to lose it, or if you're struggling to maintain it, That's where proper use of the GLP-1s can be massive. How effective are peptides like retatrutide for reversing insulin resistance issues? Very effective. Very effective. They don't reverse insulin resistance. They improve it while you're on the medication. Samorelin and tesamorelin are B. I don't know what that means. They are B for... I was going to say amazing, but I don't really know where to go with that. So, you're going to... Hey, G-Man, do I ever lift weights? Yes, I lift weights a couple times a week. Sean Morse, I lost 39 pounds in about 4 months. Fantastic, diabetic. Just a simple calorie deficit and hard work. It is possible. It is possible, Sean. Congratulations, my friend. Losing 40 pounds as a diabetic is extremely challenging. So kudos to you for putting in the work. I'm happy to hear that. It's not the same for everybody, of course, but I'm happy to hear that nonetheless. What do I think about the potato diet? Never heard of a potato diet, but if it's a diet chock full of potatoes, then I'm not a good fan of that. I'm not a big fan of that. What kind of potatoes? How are they cooked? But in general, that's just a lot of carbohydrates. We definitely don't need a lot of carbohydrates. In fact, we need much less carbohydrates. And quite frankly, during the initial phase, I like to go as low carb as we possibly can. Sassy, have I heard of somebody compliant and neither GLP-1 is successful? Yes, we see it all the time. There are 4 main reasons, everybody, that your GLP-1 medications are not working. 4 main reasons: thyroid, cortisol, inflammation, and insulin resistance. I'm going to repeat that list again. These are the 4 main reasons that I've seen clinically why patients are either a slow responder or a non-responder. Thyroid, cortisol, inflammation, and insulin resistance. And it could be one of those, it could be a few of those. This is why proper testing, getting a comprehensive lab testing to see what's going on, and working with clinicians that can help you dissect and understand and figure out like what the actual issue is. Do I use GHK copper? Yes. Casey, protein forward, low carb, fiber, calorie deficit, 56 pounds down. Love it, love it. That's freaking awesome. Have you used tirzepatide with type 1 diabetics? We have. We don't specialize in type 1 diabetes though. That's another animal. You definitely want to work with a practitioner in a clinic that's got experience with type 1 diabetes. Like that they do that. Best peptides for weight loss: tirzepatide, retatrutide, AOD 9604, Sloop 332, 0304. These are the first peptides that come to mind. A cheap protein meal. Cheap, huh? If I was on a budget, I would go down to the 99-cent store. If I was broke as a joke, I would go to the 99-cent store and I would go raid the fridge and I would get eggs and bacon. No joke. If I was overweight and broke, I would eat the food from the 99-cent store and just eat meat. Cut the carbs, cut the processed foods, just eat cheap, processed meat. Yes, there are problems with the ultra-processed meats, but by getting rid of carbohydrates, by beginning to lower insulin levels, I think the pros, that's like the best case scenario you can do. Costco chicken, phenomenal. But if you're broke as a joke, you probably can't go to Costco. I don't know. I don't know how, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I think the Costco chicken is another game changer. Very, very cheap way that we're not saying it's the most optimal. We're saying it's phenomenal for cost-effective protein and nutritional ratio. Scott, this small percentage of GLP-1 users really need clinicians' in-person guidance, slow and non. Scott, are you saying that slow and non-responders need clinical guidance? I agree 100%. Face-to-face would be amazing if people had access to face-to-face providers that know what they're doing, but I mean, good luck. You know, we service all 50 states, and so if you guys need help, we got you covered. Guys, if you just hopped into this live, welcome, welcome. Yes, we do offer and prescribe semaglutide, tirzepatide, retatrutide, all the powerful fat-mobilizing peptides. We do hormone therapies as well for men and women. So if you're a woman, for example, perimenopausal, menopausal. By the way, how many menopausal ladies, perimenopausal, do we have watching this? How much of a struggle has your weight loss journey been the moment that you became perimenopausal? We have a whole particular program for perimenopause, menopause, but also autoimmune conditions, non-autoimmune inflammatory conditions like PCOS, for example. And so whether you want the coaching for me, whether you need the peptides, the GLP-1s for my medical team, whatever it is, I'm going to tell you guys how you can reach out to my team. So if you're watching me on TikTok, you can shoot us a direct message. If you guys are watching me on YouTube, there's either a number on the screen or you can, there's a link in the bio. Depending on how you're watching me, you should be able to go to the description and there's a link there to schedule a free consult. Con, that's actually not the case for us. We don't offer any research chemicals. Never have, never will. I advocate against research chemicals. So we work with high quality 503A compounding pharmacies. And so those pharmacies, a couple of the ones we work with, offer retatrutide. So very much different than research-based retatrutide. This is 503A compounded retatrutide. Yes, we do offer GHK copper. Yeah, no worries, Con. I just wanted to make sure. Look, I know people use research peptides. I don't hate on them. I never want to make somebody feel bad because I know that research peptides are much more affordable. So you got to do what you got to do, and I respect that. I always just try to educate people to be as safe as you can. Christian, postmenopausal, 57-year-old with celiac disease, doing great since starting tirzepatide last February. Fantastic. I need to lose about 15, but it made all the difference in reducing inflammation and resetting hormones. Fantastic. It really, really does make a difference. You stack a little tirzepatide with estrogen and progesterone as a perimenopausal woman. Holy crap. It is crazy how powerful that is. Getting some estrogen, some bioidentical estrogen can make all the difference. Yeah, Lynn, what kind of questions do you have about L-carnitine? Okay, so I see a lot of you guys are discussing the autoimmune piece. So let me give you guys the powerful stack that I think hands down is the best stack of potential options if you're struggling with autoimmune inflammation. So your GLP-1 is your starter because your GLP-1 is very anti-inflammatory. And then you have low-dose naltrexone. So low-dose naltrexone is kind of like microdosing GLP-1s. It's microdosing naltrexone. Naltrexone is FDA approved for different conditions. We're covering opiate addicts and alcohol addicts. But in the low-dose category, it is very powerful at reducing inflammation. Specifically works on these cells called Toll-like 4 inflammatory cells. This is very, very chronic in nature, these autoimmune conditions. So those TL4 cells are producing a ton of inflammation. And so low-dose naltrexone can modulate and calm those down and crank it down. Very, very different approach than corticosteroids or biologics, which can reduce your total immune system, and then you have side effects like increased susceptibility to various organisms, and you get sick more often, and it can kill you. You know, it's not a great thing. So we have had a lot of success with low dose naltrexone for helping our autoimmune patients. So you can stack LDN and GLP-1, and then another cool option would be BPC 157 KPV. So BPC 157 KPV is very, very powerful. BPC works on a tissue level to reduce inflammation, upregulate the development of new blood vessels and blood flow. It upregulates antioxidant function, so you're not, like the glutathione, for example, so you're handling free radicals, you're not getting as inflamed from free radicals. And then KPV works on NF-kappa beta, the literal transcriber of inflammatory cytokines. So you're downregulating that too as well. So these are really, really powerful tools. And then of course, the diet side, what you're eating, how you eat, what you approach is gonna make a massive difference too. So big fan, short-term carnivore diet is phenomenal for really putting out the inflammation as fast as possible. The difference is it comes from a 503A pharmacy. Anything that comes from a 503A pharmacy is completely different than research peptides. What are the things I must do before taking BPC 157? Some people say it's necessary to get a cancer screening. I think that's a little overkill. We personally don't think that's necessary. BPC 157 is extremely safe. Do I have an opinion on AI healthcare? Not yet. No opinions yet. I think it's the future, but what that actually looks like is, to be determined. What is a good weekly dose for B12 with Retta? Dosing is individualized, guys. Dosing is an individualized thing. There are no standard protocols. There are dosing schedules that people move through, but doctor-patient relationship depends on finding an ideal dose for you. It's not a cookie-cutter thing. Shouldn't be a cookie-cutter thing. Do you think that it's becoming unhealthy if I'm walking 18,000 steps a day? That's a lot of steps. I wouldn't say unhealthy. I highly doubt that you can become unhealthy from walking too much. That's probably the last worry I'd ever have. Are you lifting weights though? Are you resistant training? You probably not. I would take some of the time that you're taking, I would allocate some of the time from the 18,000 steps a day into lifting heavy stuff. Lifting heavy weight. Heavy weight in a safe manner for your body, hypertrophy style resistance training, where you get in there and you work on breaking down the muscle tissue so that you can have a positive response where you ultimately build muscle tissue. Then you have to consume enough protein and you have to eat enough food. There is no ideal dose of retatrutide. Guys, when it comes to GLP-1 dosing, we subscribe to the low dosing strategy. The best dose of a GLP-1 medication is the lowest dose that you need to implement strategic lifestyle changes. So what dose allows you to no longer have crazy food chatter, to no longer be struggling, to no longer be white knuckling, but not so much of a dose that now you don't get hungry, you don't think about food, you have zero cravings, you're nauseous, you take a few bites and you're full. That's a problem. That creates a massive problem. How many of you guys watching this know exactly what I'm talking about? Have been dosed too high where it's not so much that you were struggling with nausea. Let's say, you were fine, but you had no thought about food. No thought about food, no desire, no cravings. You would look at your favorite food and you would just be like, eh. It probably felt amazing in the beginning, but then how long does that actually work for you? How long does that actually help you long term? How unnatural is it to look at something that was engineered to taste good and have zero cravings for it, where you didn't even have to put in any effort? That's not going to last forever unless you plan on being on the maximum dose of the medication for the rest of your life. Even if you did, I can almost guarantee that your body would stop responding and eventually the cravings would come back, because there is a response that people seem to develop where the effectiveness wanes. It decreases over time. The body is very powerful at adapting. And so this is another reason why we advocate for cycling your peptides, cycling your GLP-1 medications. At least when you're at the maintenance phase, at least when you've made some massive healing. Hey Scott, do you actually have any questions? Is there any way I can help you? Are you here just to disagree with me this entire live? Like, my moderators haven't kicked you out yet because you've been kind of in the middle, but I'm just wondering if you need any help with anything, or do you just kind of want to slightly disagree with everything that I'm saying? Because you certainly don't have to watch my live, There are plenty of other providers if you disagree with what we do. That would be a question, Scott, for you and the 503A pharmacies. I don't own the pharmacy. My doctors just help patients get better. We don't work at the pharmacy. What do I mean by cycling the peptides? Cycling the peptides means taking a break, taking a period of off time. So you have a period of on time and you have a period of off time. That's what cycling peptides means. No worries. I'm not sure what question you're referring to. Yes, we recommend stacking GLP-1s with certain peptides. Depending on your use case, everything's individualized, of course. Republican of Chad, that sounds like a strong cycle. Don't know what your goals are. Hey, Evelyn, thank you so much. I appreciate that. What Retta best stacked with, please? Honestly, retatrutide stacked with tirzepatide is a pretty cool stack. Sloop 332 in the beginning if your metabolism is down-regulated. How come some people are hyperresponders while others don't respond at all? Nobody knows the answer. There's no research-based answer to that question, but if I had to make an educated guess, I think that the people that are slow responders and non-responders are the ones that are dealing with more inflammation, more insulin resistance, just overall health issues. And so generally those people I notice have to go on higher and higher doses to get even their first clinical effective response. Yes, we do offer our peptides, GHK Copper TB 500 from 503A sources. We ship all 50 states directly to your doorstep. I provide coaching services. Me and my team of coaches will help you if you're stuck in a GLP-1 plateau, if your weight loss has stalled, if you feel like crap, if you've lost a bunch of muscle, if you don't know how to make it go right. That's exactly what we do. This is what we help with. And, you know, I think we kick ass. I'd like to say my staff we've gotten a really good system out there to help you guys be successful long term. So if you like the idea of achieving microdosing maintenance, achieving the ability to microdose in the future, if that resonates with you, if you guys like the sound of that, give us a holler. Say, hey, Dr. Jones. Probably won't hear you if you say it like that, but you know, you guys get my point. L-carnitine and wanted to know if there's any benefits. Yeah, I mean, L-carnitine's not going to hurt you. L-carnitine is cheap, and there could be some benefit. It's part of that mobilization process. You got to be in a calorie deficit. You got to be doing the right things. TRT solved my metabolic syndrome. My man, Chad. I'm a big fan of TRT. Testosterone replacement therapy, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy for men and women. It's about quality of life. It's about muscle preservation and muscle building. I'm telling you guys right now, if you don't lift weights, that's a problem. If you don't go to the gym with the intention of building muscle, your little circuit training classes, your rebounders, your Pilates, like, I'm not hating on that, because if you're getting started, those classes, that's better than nothing. It's a starting point, and I'm not going to hate on that. But we need to eventually do better. We need to eventually work into some muscle building resistance training sessions, because I promise you, that'll make all the difference in protecting muscle mass and actually building muscle mass. Hey, Nurse Jackie, you got our text message, but you didn't see our email. If you didn't see our email, it's probably in your spam. But if it's not in your spam, just shoot us a text message and then ask them to resend it. I'm just starting with swimming. Again, you gotta start somewhere. But if you have the ability to start with resistance training, I would recommend to start with resistance training. But if you can't, swimming's better than nothing. All right, guys. I gotta hop off and prepare for my next meeting, but it was a pleasure. You guys kick ass. And I'll see everybody on Wednesday. I'll see you guys this Wednesday. And again, you know how to reach out to me. Click the link in my bio, shoot us a direct message. Let's kick ass and see you guys later. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.